So usually these sorts of stories begin with a young, jovial character thrust into a life-changing scenario, setting them on some kind of unplanned trajectory. But they aren't usually embarrassing or humiliating. Oh wait, my apologies. I should introduce myself first. I'm Desperado Phineas Theos, the third of my name, after my grandfather and my great-great-grandfather. My older brother, Silverado, you might have heard of him. He did some pretty great things for the people of Gira. He left some time ago, a few years ago now. Hasn't been heard from in quite a while. Our home, our village, sits within the redwood forest, just on the edge of Dunsmuir Lake. Anyway, Silverado's leaving home for me was really tough. I uh, I thought we'd be in the forest together forever. You know, our families growing up together. But after he set off, I realized I needed to find my place in this world too. I just wasn't sure what that looked like. I wasn't sure what that might be. And my friends and I, we spent most of our time just messing around on the shores of the Dunsmuir, like any, young elf might do. When we weren't in school or training, that is. Usually these times on the lake were involved the weird games, always involved lots of wine. Not the junk from around here, the good stuff, good elven stuff. Uh, but on one sunny afternoon, everything kind of changed for me. It was a day like any other. It was sunny. It was nice. We were in on the lake. Between swigs of wine, knots of the good bread. Wine was a bit off. We paid it no mind though; it didn't matter. But I'll never forget that giggling, cackling sound. It still haunts me. We were laying there with our dipping our toes in the water, staring at the sky. Those days when you're just trying to avoid the world and that's catching up to you. It was one of those times. All of a sudden, I began to realize something was amiss. Not quite right. I couldn't wiggle my toes, my fingers. I couldn't turn my head. I couldn't move my arms or legs. I wasn't quite sure what had happened. None of us could move, um, but we could see and we could hear quite well. I could hear really well. You know how they say when you lose one sense, all your other sense are heightened. They're very right. The dancing and the laughing and cackling sound all around us. I couldn't tell what they were. I found out later from my father they're called bogles, tricksy little fey creatures. Anyway, they took everything. They took everything from us: our food, our coins, our clothes, our dignity. Um, by the time I could move again, they were gone. There was no trace of them. There we were on the shore of the Dunsmuir, naked, exposed, robbed, and humiliated. I promised myself I'd never let my guard down like that again, especially around Faze. And after that experience, I took my training much more seriously. It opened my eyes to the world and the things that are around us. Nothing is as it seems in our world, and even in times of peace, things can change in an instant. It seems. Um, After the thing with the boggles, I kind of developed this issue with others touching my food. I trained in the community kitchens and learned some really good elven cuisine. I became a pretty accomplished chef. But when I wasn't in the kitchens, instead of spending my time at the lake, I practiced with my bow and my blades. I'd hoped that I wouldn't ever need to use them, but I wanted to be prepared in the event that I did. And it was around that time that the lady in the lake came to me. Apparently, she'd been watching me. I had no idea, but the first time I saw her, she appeared as this regal elven maiden, wearing this fairly pristine Sylvan plate mail. She talked to me about how she was ready to take on a champion, someone to carry on her mantle. She would spar with me, and she helped me hone my skills with my bow and my blade. She told me about how she was one of the protectors of my people long ago, a great knight. No idea. She fought in the great battle of the Redwood Forest, the one that gave Redwood its name. She was a real great warrior, and she fought bravely in that battle. She'd eventually fall, but Dunsmuir favored her, and her spirit lives on in the lake. She watches over our kin and in service of him in Dunsmuir. She asked if I could prove my worth. She would empower me to do great things. She asked me to seek out one of Dunsmuir's most faithful followers, my brother, actually, Silverado. She says he's lost but not gone, and that's what brings me here.